Hey folks, and welcome to the Pipnotic Symposium for the 5th of August 2019. You might hear some screaming in the background. That's just my boys hammering on each other in the pool, so I apologize for that. But I thought I'd take the opportunity to do a symposium where we go through chart analysis just pretty quickly. Okay, and this is just to help you guys kind of establish like a daily routine. And here I refer back to the kind of the 5-hour work week, where you spend roughly 1 hour a day analyzing pairs. So we're going to do that very quickly. So what I'll do is I'll just drag my first pair on the chart like this, and don't pay attention to these. We'll just delete these. Actually, I'm just going to delete these now. And so what we do is we start on the big time frame, and this is important because we need to be able to establish where we had major supply and demand. So the question is, where are we in relation to the major flows? Do we have demand, or do we have supply driving price? Okay, so what I like to do is I like to pay attention to this kind of stuff, and very quickly I'm just going to look at the swings like this. You can see. And I do this to help me establish where we have market structure. And we have market structure here. So we have a trend line that could go from here to here. Okay, and this trend line, the market structure has been broken. So I'll set myself for what area of demand broke that. And you can see we have kind of a double area. We have a parent and the child here. So I'm going to mark from the bottom. So I'm just going to mark from here to here like that. Okay, so this is where the whole thing originated from. And you might argue that the price will probably start looking to move away from this area here. And this is because we had these candles that were all kind of, the bodies were within the range of the previous, and this is the first candle that moved away. So we can expect maybe price to have a bit of a bounce at roughly that area there. Okay, and so we have that on this time frame. What does that mean? Does that mean we're in an uptrend? No, it doesn't, because we still can't we don't have lower highs and lower lows. Okay, so but we do have kind of a break from this downward trend. Price broke away, which is nice, and now it's looking to kind of attract some buyers by advertising these low prices. And also keep in mind that that we had this market structure fail. Okay, and look at this very quick retreat. So price left this area. So when prices advertised this low, then we started to see some flows move from the American dollar into euro. Okay, and then we saw this this push away. Okay, so this is interesting for us. Notice also that we have this upward sloping from around here to here. Okay, and this is also broken. And so the area of supply that caused market structure to fail there is here. And this is interesting because we had this area here, okay, which was tested, and it kind of held, and then price went down. So the most recent area is monthly supply. So price tested this, and now we're moving down, and now we're approaching this price down here. Okay, so there's not a lot to do longer term in the middle here. Okay, so we have that on the monthly chart. Let's go to the weekly chart and have a look around. Zoom out a little bit, and here we have a right old mess. You can see there's a lot of messiness going on there, but we have to focus on the most recent kind of activity here. We don't really have anything here. You can just see the price is wriggling low. It looks like we're trying to yeah, it's tough to call on the weekly, but you can see that we're wriggling lower. And so when I see this, I mean, there's absolutely no supply up here until we get up here, and there's no buying until we get down here. So there's nothing really to do if you look at the major flows. Okay, so if you look at this, we have our trend lines look like this, kind of go like this. We could actually, if we wanted to, move it to the bodies, so something that looks like that. And then for the lower one, we have, I mean, that's still being respected for the time being, and so price is drifting lower. What is it drifting towards? We have something down here, but is this demand? Well, the beginning of the buy zone is here, and if we look lower, you can see the beginning of the buy zone is actually here, where price gapped up. We pulled the slingshot back, and then we left. And so I wouldn't do anything until price got down to here. And so for the euro, I mean, that's all I do. I just move on to the next pair. Okay, and until I see this trend line being broken, I wouldn't do anything. Okay, this is longer term, so let's go to the daily chart and have a look around and see what we have there. Well, we have a short bias. You can see that we had market structure failing. We had this to here. Market structure broke. What area did it? This one here. It's been tested once, twice, and then price left. So that's still holding. But for the time being, I mean, there's no reason to buy. And so certainly we can expect prices to continue to wriggle lower. Let's have a look over here. So we mark off the beginning of the buy zone. Yeah, there's nothing here. I mean, I wouldn't be keen on doing anything up here. I'd certainly look for the lows here or even the close of this gap. So I think this is about the first area that you would want to start to look to buy on the Euro USD. Okay, let's have a look at, just going to close these. Okay, so now you go over here. We do the same thing, go to the monthly chart. Let's remove this. So what do we have here? We have a very clear push lower. So we have market structure is very clearly moving lower. I apologize, you can hear like Big Brother getting beaten up by the 5-year-old. Funny how that works. And that price is kind of wriggling low. We did have market structure in here as well. So we had some demand in here. Tested once, twice, 3 times, price accumulated on it, and now we're trying to cut through it. So this is interesting to us if we go down to the weekly chart, because here, this is the area that caused price to break, and there's a pretty decent departure. So from here to around there, this is kind of the area that's looking to attract some selling, and this is because price managed to move away and through this should price close below here, but it hasn't done that yet. What we do have is we have this bottom that's being formed. Okay, so sideways price movement. The candle that left is here. Okay, so we did have a little pattern in here. What pattern? We had like an area of demand just here. Held once. Now it's gone. What area did it? This one here did. Okay, so I think for the time being, this would be an interesting place to sell. Keep in mind that we are approaching these really, really low. So I would be cautious on selling. So I would be selling defensively. Okay, and I'll begin to start to look to buy once price gets into this really it starts advertising really low prices. Keep in mind there's Brexit going on, and this Boris guy, I don't know if we're gonna get a deal with Europe. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens there. But so there's a lot of volatility, potential volatility within the pound for the time being. But this is an interesting place to look for a reaction. And so we certainly have a short bias, but you want to be selling with caution because we're getting to these lows here. Okay, so let's have a look at this one here. So let me, I just leave those on. So what are we doing here? So we have high, low, high, low. Mark that off there. Actually, I'm going to do like that. Oops, crazy. See, the new version of the indicator doesn't do that because it waits for the. We'll leave it like that. It waits for the line and the rectangle to be deselected, and then it starts to manage them. So you don't get those weird bug experiences that you just saw there. And so here we had market structure. Okay, the trend line has been broken, but we haven't really done anything. There's no clear area of demand that consumed, for example, this area of supply. It hasn't happened yet. So for the time being, we're going to sit on our hands and wait till price pops up here. We do have some trend line-ish stuff going on here, so we could kind of wait for that to happen. You can see the price is closed below, which will be clear on the weekly chart. So if we look at this, we'll realign our trend line like that. Okay, and then we have, price has moved above there, and now we have this upward sloping trend line, and price is just closed below. You can also see that this one is gray, and so price is actually drifting lower from here to here. So we have that as well, which is nice. And now we have supply is the fixed side of liquidity is to the upside, and that's why price. You can see that we have these lower highs and lower lows, because this was a low, and here we have a lower low. So price is kind of drifting lower. Okay, Go to the daily chart and have a look, and you can see that we had this. We had a high, low, clear swings. Price went down. So this market structure is fair, but we haven't taken any out opposing supply, and so for the time being we want to be careful. This is probably maybe price is having a bit of a bounce at something down here. You can see here we had the beginning of the buy zone at around here. This is very messy here, very messy indeed. So the beginning of the buy zone isn't actually until we get down here, but we do have these micro buy zones down here. We had this one here, and this is a buy zone because, let me draw that for you. Jeez, man, these kids, they make so much noise, it's crazy. So we have this little thing that I tell my youngest son. We live like in the jungle. It's pretty green. I posted the picture in the general discussion room, and I tell him there are snakes in the jungle behind our house that love small children that scream. I know it's the worst thing you could ever say to a child. I'll tell you what, that buys us about an hour of peace, and we enjoy, even though it's completely politically incorrect. We like to chuck that out there now and again when things get a bit extreme. Right, we go like that, we go like this, we go down. And so we just had a major turning point here, so we know that there was an increase, or rather an interest in buying here, and our price has gone low and below that, okay? So the beginning of the buy zone was here, and now we've moved below that because the beginning of the buy zone is down there. So you have to look over here, because this whole thing here is standing on this leg here. So you have to look, not in here, but over here, okay? And you want to look for a really nice push, and you can see that we have, I like this one here. And so this would be an interesting place to look for price to wriggle higher from, okay? And let's move that, and that might make it looks a little bit clear. You can see that price has already been down to, come on, to here. So this one in here, so you don't want to try that again. We don't want to buy anything in here until we've consumed supply, which we haven't done. And so we want to continue to look lower than this until we consume this here, okay? And so lower is here. I think this looks pretty interesting because price came up, we had this nice little demand established. Our price went, well, it's not very nice, but you can see how price rallied, accumulated, popped up, poked into it, and then left, and it hasn't been back since. And so this might be might attract some buying once price comes back down to here, but I wouldn't sell just yet, and I wouldn't buy until lower. Okay, if you go down to the smaller time frames, I mean, you can do kind of whatever you want. And we did have a really keen interest on buying here. You can see that we had this area of demand that was drawn. It's tested once, tested twice, and so of course there's lots to do on the smaller time frames. But I wouldn't, even on this time frame, I wouldn't look to buy until we get below these lows here and down into this area here, which is, let's have a look. So like around here, okay? And I would probably, yeah, I mean the indicator found it perfectly. This one here is the one I would look at because we have a really sharp departure. We had price leave, and it came back. The slingshot was pulled back to the edge of this rectangle, and then it left. So this is where I'd start to buy for this time frame here, okay? But on the major time frames, then I would certainly start to look lower. Let's have a look at the dollar yen. Go on the monthly. What's going on? See, here we have kind of a squeeze going on where we're not allowed to draw anything there just yet. We can draw. We have a really sharp push up like that, which brought us this, like that. Price really moved away, and we moved through this child. Okay, so this is the area to sell at. Price came close-ish to it, not really, and then it came down, and now it's kind of figuring out what it wants to do next. But for the time being, we can't really do anything. Let's go to the weekly chart and have a look. You can see we're stuck between this area of demand and this area of supply. This has held many times, and this one has held 1, 2, and this is going to be the third approach. We have swaps long. Does that mean we shouldn't sell? It doesn't. It just means that you want to be a little bit cautious. So what I'll do here is I would probably look for the low of this candle. Let me remove the indicator. Okay, and I would actually look here. So I'd start to buy from here and below. Okay, because price moved sideways. We had the slingshot pull back, and then it popped higher. So the 101 20ish area is interesting. Once that's tested, well, then you want to start looking down in the leg that's holding this move here. Okay. Let's go back up to here and have a look, and you can see we have all these wicks, these pullbacks. Prices ideally it's already been to here, and if you look here, you can see that we had a nice push down here, bringing our attention to this. Okay, this one here with the 9270, which is pretty far away, but there's plenty to do in here. I mean, you can see here, if we go to the daily chart, that we do have this market structure has been compromised by what? By this. So we do have this. Price has not been back since. Okay, not been back since. Come on. So you could look for that. Notice here that we have a micro supply that's been tested. Price closed below this trend line. Tested the upper area. Let's mark that off and have a look on the 4 hour. And then you can see it there. We have our accumulation there. Price went down, we pushed lower, we came out, we came back up into it, and then we left. Okay. So what we have there, we have lots of market structure failure going on here. You can see here, and it's all pointing up to here. And so they're kind of starting to accumulate short orders once price comes up into here, or waiting to buy until price gets at least below these lows. The beginning of the buy zone is below these lows here. Okay, so around this little thing here, and you can see that really long wick. It's just pointing to the edge of the buy zone. So I wouldn't be keen to buy this until we get a lot lower. Go on the hourly chart and have a look. There's nothing to do because price is just going south, and price is sold too far to start to sell. So maybe shorter term, it might be interesting to try to get some counter move trades and buy as this price inefficiency is rebalanced. Let's look at the dollar franc. What's going on the monthly? Okay, so we have, it's going to go like that. I'm just going to remove that so it's out of the way. What do we have here? We have this price went up, went down. So it's a really low price. We kind of entered the edge of buy zone here, getting close. We found some buyers here. You can see that this candle here kind of closed above these ones, so the low of this candle, or actually the low of the lowest candle since that one is here. It's the beginning of the buy zone. Price came to that and was pretty happy with that and managed to move higher. We've tested this area here, which brings in the edge of the buy zone to here since this move, because all of this is standing on this. So I wouldn't start to buy until we get a little bit lower, and this kind of confirms what we're seeing on the Japanese yen, the dollar yen as well. We want to buy, but we want to wait until we buy, because prices move low, and we're expecting the price will move a little bit lower before we see an interest to buy. Okay, so what do we have there? So we have this. We have market structure here. It's failed the area that did it. We kind of have this one here. This closed below this, so we have that. Furthermore, we had this area here. So we had parent, child. The child was consumed, as was the parent here, and this is the area that did it. The trade already happened, and it happened there. The indicator found it, tested, and then it went down very quickly. Okay, so that's interesting. And notice where price went down to. So if we have a look at here, we have the candle that left. This candle left here. Okay, so the slingshot was pulled back to here. Price tested up into here, telling us that the beginning of the sell zone is higher. So now it's been moved up to here. And look where price came to. It came pretty much to that prior to retreating like it did here, very aggressively for many weeks. Okay, and if we have a look at this pin bar here, suppose the edge of this candle is in with the range of the previous, but just for the sake of example, if you have a look at this, the edge of the sell zone, if we use this as our departure candle, which it isn't, so it's cheating, price tried to get there but it didn't, okay, which tells us that there was enough selling within this period of accumulation or distribution to drive price lower, okay, but price did not manage to move deeply into this accumulation, okay, it only managed to get back to this previous sell zone, which is actually the absolute tip, poked in a little bit and then we left, okay, so that's very interesting. If we look here, yeah, I mean that's fine I think for the time being. So now we're moving lower. We have buy zones and sell zones. We have the next buy zone is here. If you have a look here, we have a pretty interesting pattern down here. Okay, like that. So the 96.67, and it's just above this area here. So this looks kind of interesting. Go to the daily chart and have a closer look. You can see here we can refine our entry, and you can see that we had pushed lower, a rally, accumulation, rally, and so you can see that the slingshot was pulled back to here. So mark off the low there, like that. Okay, and so this is an even better place to start to buy. So I'd be keen to start to look to buy there, and all of this is standing on this. Okay, so this is still out of balance, it's looking to be balanced, and if you look here you can see that, I mean, this has been rebalanced, this is still, this has been rebalanced, and now we're looking to rebalance this one, and once this is rebalanced, price is going to want to move lower after we've reacted here and we've found some buyers. But this is a decent price for this, and we have a keen interest in buying, just because when price came down here and there, then it really shot off for the stars there. Okay, let's have a look at this next one here on the monthly. What's going on here? Zoom in a bit. You can see that we had this area here, demand, price raised, it was tested, now it's gone. What area cut it out? We have this area. You know, I'm just gonna do this, clear swings. Here we got some clear swings looking like that. Matter of fact, we could probably go from there to there. Okay, and so now that's gone. So the market structure has failed, and we're moving really low. Okay, so this was interesting to us. Now price is dumped lower. So what area of supply did it? Well, the trend line was compromised by this candle here, so it left from here. Okay, price tested it, and now it managed to move away. Okay, so now price is wriggling down. This is not clear at all. It's difficult to say what's going to happen, so we have to go to the smaller time frames for clarity, and we can see we have a high, low, high, low. These are clear enough. Excuse me. Okay, so price is wriggling down like that, and I mean there's nothing, there's no supply until, if we have a look, let me draw quickly, we have all of this, all there, and it's standing on this here. So we want to buy once price gets as close to the origin, which is around here, as possible. This is the origin of this move, and now we're slowly eating into the liquidity available in that move, and we're returning to the base. So when we get back to this area here, we're certainly going to see some people maybe pile in and begin to buy. Okay, we also have this area here, which has been tested by this move. This is the first test into this area. Okay, but this is still needing, this move here still needs rebalancing. This one has bounced from here to here. This one needs to come back to here before it's balanced. Okay, and so we can certainly look for price to come here and then wriggle off and does what it wants to do. Okay, so let's zoom in a little and have a look. As if we have a look at this move here. So we had, I mean, price came down, went up, came down, went up, came back, and this is the one that left. So we have the buying starts at the lows of this pullback, which is around here. So this is an obvious place to start to pile on some long orders. and that is down at the 62-ish area. Okay, so we're still pretty far away from that. Does that mean we can't do anything now? No, it doesn't. It just means longer term we want to be careful about buying. I mean, there's no reason to buy this at all. There's absolutely no reason to buy that at all. Okay, I just unplugged my power supply, and you'll probably notice that that horrible buzzing sound disappeared. I forgot to do that last time, and I forgot to do it this time, but I've just done it. I hope it's bearable now for the rest of the video. And there's a bit of wind coming in as well, and I apologize for that. So we have this kind of going on here. Price came down, up, up. We're kind of marking price higher, then it cut down. Okay, so there's certainly a keen interest to sell above this level here, and we actually have a really interesting area of supply just here. So I'd be looking to sell there. I wouldn't be doing anything until we get up to here, and buying, well, I wouldn't be buying until much lower. And now we've used 26 minutes and we've gone through all the majors. Okay, and I'm putting a lot of work onto this and explaining and drawing and stuff, and so I think we could probably take the amount of time that I've used and divide that by 2, and that's how long it would have taken me so far. Probably would have taken me, takes me about maybe 2 minutes per chart. So if I want to do 10 pairs, it takes me about 20 minutes. Okay, 20-30 minutes. So not that long at all. Okay, let's have a look at this, the Euro Aussie. What's going on? Something's going on. News. You can see that we have, so this was a really low price. Price came down, so we had an extreme high, extreme low, and now we're trying to rebalance price. So I mean, fair price is, let's have a look. Let's just mark this off here, from here to here. So we got that. Okay, and for the up, we have maybe around here, like that. Maybe something like that. So you're getting pretty close to this upper edge. So once price comes up and around here, you're going to want to find an area up here that looks interesting. And this is really messy on this time frame. So let's have a look on the small time frame. So we're currently here. Yeah, and here we can see a decent area right there, which is pretty far up here, you can see. But I like the way that when price is here we have something interesting. Okay, let's see where we are in relation to that. That's pretty close. Price tried to get up there, rejected. My eldest son teasing my little one, you can hear. And here we have the push away, and price came back. The slingshot was pulled back to here, and then it left. But this is not supply here, so I'd certainly want to look higher, and I'd probably look up here. Something like that. Okay? And once price is rebalanced out, that we want to look higher, and this brings our attention to this and this here. Okay, so there's nothing to do for the moment until price gets a little bit higher. Buying, well, we have support. We have this trend line here. Go down to the smaller time frame and see if we have anything here. Here we had actually. We had a pullback here. We had like beginning of a sell zone. You can see. We just mark it off like that. Price is tested out, and now it's gone, which brings our attention to this, which has not been tested yet. So this is a fresh area, the 62.30. Go to the 4 and have a look. And if we have a look here, we have a trend line. It's been broken, and then we can put our, we can refine this. We're probably not going to get through that, so we're probably going to look something like that. Or maybe like this, something like that. But this is probably an interesting place to look to get in here. You can see how price came up. There's no demand here. This is barely in demand. Accumulation, rally, pullback. Price goes higher, it comes down. We have a huge. We have like 3 periods of accumulation, and then it shoots up. So from here, I mean, here we have some interest here. Okay, so we can just mark off that whole candle. Like around there, so like the 61.50 is a pretty interesting spot. Watch price react at that spot there. Good. So, I mean, I'm gonna leave it at that, nice and short, 30 minutes. Sorry for the buzzing sound in the beginning. I'll try to remember that in the future. It's a pain. It's because I got a new set of headphones, and it does that. It creates like a bit of some feedback, and it's essentially because I don't have a ground in my power supply, and so that static kind of stays in the system. Okay, and so when I unplug it, then there's no need for grounds because I'm running on battery, and then that buzz disappears. Cool. Well, I'll leave it at that. Thanks for watching. Have any questions? Please post them in the Discord channel. And thanks for watching.